This is If You Don't Agree, You're Wrong. I'm VHS Jason, of course, the star of the show, Jason Roy Gaston. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, and I really hope that everybody enjoyed the sound of my cats growling at each other during the opening title sequence. That I know I enjoyed it on this side.
I thought it added extra to the acoustics
Yes,
at the moment, so I thought it was wonderful. Well, Jace, we have a litany of shows to go through this
absolute
evening.
whatever a litany is. Yes.
Yes, I don't even know what that. It just sounds right to say
know.
it there. But you know what? Let's not muck around. I'm really keen to talk about a lot of stuff that we've been watching this week, and we're going to kick it off with the cat. Have the cats actually started a fire in the back there? Because I can see an orange flicker.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
There is some kind of sacrifice going on here.
I feel like there's a revolution happening in your.
Perhaps. You know what? I hold the treat box, so I'll be okay.
You'll be all good. All right, let's get into this week's Futurama.
Things are getting very scary here.
Someone obviously didn't like the episode.
Murder Bean.
Stop. And that's Murder Bean, is it?
It's Murder Bean.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's excellent.
Battle Cat got back from the vet. She just had her sniz snooped. And I don't know what it is. I guess it's because she has a strange smell on her, but Murder Bean doesn't like her anymore.
Oh, okay. They're battling away. That's hilarious. Live, too. So anything can happen.
Come here.
Hey, look, maybe we just move the camera away from you and we'll just focus on it.
All right, there we go. Come here.
There we go. All right. Well,
my little endless void here.
All right, let's get stuck into, like I said, Futurama. It is episode 10, which I believe is the final episode for Futurama this season.
This was the season finale, and well, I'll give my thoughts about it. I keep wanting to say what I think about it, but I gotta wait. You gotta wait. We have a structure on this show. We have 2 minutes to tell people what we think. No more, no less. No interruptions.
No interruptions. Hey, I've been a good boy so far.
You have been. I haven't had to send you any ticking packages or anything like that.
No. That's right. All right, but you know what? I'm going to be selfish this week, and I'm going to start talking about Futurama.
Fine.
While you calm down the warring kittens in your home. All right, I'm going to start now. This, for the second week in a row, I think this has been one of the better episodes of the season. I really enjoyed this thing. Any episode that kind of does multiverse, it's kind of got my attention. And it's been a concept that's been overplayed in many ways, but I felt they handled it exceptionally well. I love the idea of this universe that's just made out of a couple of pixels for each character. And, you know, as someone who's in design, I appreciate how the colours perfectly represented all the characters. But I love the idea of it. It had an emotional story with Bender sacrificing himself just to save someone else, which is a very selfless thing to do with Bender, which I absolutely adored. No, I thoroughly was surprised because I've been so let down with so many episodes throughout the season. Last week's episode was so good. And to me, maybe not as good, but it's getting close, and I'm thrilled to say that I'm giving it a roorific this week, Jace. It is absolutely a roorific episode. I'm very delighted to be been able to say that. So, okay. All right, Jace, are you ready to give us your thoughts?
Start the clock. I got thoughts.
Oh, there we go.
So I also really enjoyed this episode. I think Futurama excels best whenever it takes genuine science fiction and science factual concepts and runs with it. And the whole idea that the universe might be a simulation is a theory that I'm quite frankly fascinated by. I once heard I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson, if I'm not mistaken, I could be, but he said that there's actually a greater chance that we are a simulation than us being real. And he gave his reasons, and I thought, oh, we're a simulation, aren't we? If anything, I wish that Futurama had gone further with this concept. I just feel like they seem strangely subdued whenever they started jumping into universes, you know, universe inside universe inside universe. I wanted to see them go the opposite direction. You know, they kept saying, well, you know, we have to keep things simplistic at this level to save computing power. I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if they pulled back and that we have like this really cool CGI version of the Planet Express crew, and then we pull back later and it's like live action. Oh, that's the kind of concepts I wanted to see with this episode, but they didn't quite go for it. It could have been a budgetary issue. Who knows? On the other hand, kind of hypocritically, I like that they kept a lot of "Are we a simulation or not?" kind of hush hush. Let the viewers decide. I do think it was strongly hinted that the Planet Express crew are actually a simulation, because I think that the Bender from the above universe came down there. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I really kind of wish this was what we had gotten for most of the season. I just feel like this season spun its wheels, didn't really know what it wanted to be, and we finally got what Futurama should be in these last 2 episodes. I enjoyed it. Wish it had gone further, but you know what? For what it is, I'm going to give it a really big Roo-rific.
Excellent. Dazza.
I love
Dazza.
that. You scratched his ears. Oh, you're a good boy, aren't you? You're a good boy.
You know what I think also, and I had a minute to go and I should have said it then, was at the table discussing why Professor Farnsworth said this is the reason why this is a simulation. And then the response, like real life.
Yeah,
and breaking that whole thing down in such a very funny way. I thought Yeah. Isn't it nice to have 2 episodes of Futurama that are
It was great. And like I said, I think Futurama just excels whenever it takes actual science and fictionizes it or goes into a comedic direction with it. I just wish they'd done more. I wish they'd
really in their
taken it a
pocket,
little bit
isn't
farther.
it, that type of stuff.
For a season finale, I wanted to see more. But this is the first time I've seen Fry and Leela's relationship where I'm just like, aw, and I haven't seen that in a long time. So
there you go. All right, let's kick it on. Let's move it on to Star Trek Very Short Treks, that web series that's currently on.
The Booger series, yes.
Yeah, the episode which last week you did not like at all. You
not like, and I'm what my opponents online call a Trek apologist, because apparently I like everything.
Oh,
but I did not like what they did.
No, you did not. I know that. Bad. I was a bit more forgiving than you. That's because my brain is probably more in the 7-year-old.
Booger, Booger, funny.
Yeah, I was dancing in that whole way. That's for sure. But you know what? We got a brand new episode this week, so you're going to kick it off. Let us know. Now, the name of that episode, I believe, was
Holograms All the Way Down.
Holograms All the Way Down, which in a way kind of has some connectivity to Futurama. So let's have a crack right now, Jason. Off you go.
Okay, so Holograms All the Way Down is a Star Trek parody cartoon, the way a Star Trek parody cartoon should be. These very short treks have mostly been member berries, but this one did it so well. It started out making fun of the terrible Enterprise finale and just said, well, what if everybody is a hologram? What if nobody knows if they're real or not? And we got some terrific voice cameos. We got Connor Trenier back as Trip Tucker. We got Jonathan Frakes back as Riker. We got Armin Shimmerman as Quark. We got Ethan Phillips as Neelix. We have, I don't remember the actor's name. Oh my God, we got the Prodigy crew. The Prodigy crew showed up, and I was so happy. I think that every generation of Trek was represented in this cartoon, and it was done in such a funny way, such an innocent way. It was we're making fun of you, Star Trek, but we love it. You never really knew where it was going to go next, and every time a new layer was added, you just kind of went, oh my gosh. Like whenever Zero and the Prodigy crew showed up, I was so stunned. I was like, oh my gosh, Paramount is acknowledging they exist. And then it made me sad because I miss them. I miss them so much. But yeah, this one was great. It wasn't gross. It wasn't just smartly written. It was just playful nudging, ha 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 at Star Trek in a very, very lighthearted way. I enjoyed this one so much more than the last one. I would say, I don't know. This one and the other one that I liked, which I can't remember right now, probably my 2 favorites so far. Oh, the Holiday Party, which I know that one's got somebody being kicked in the nuts, but I still thought that was funny. So I'm giving this Roo-rific Rurific, and so are all the holograms all the way down where I'm at. Computer pause program.
All right. Well, that was there you go. That was your crack at it. Let's get rid of Dazza. It's my turn now. Here we go. You ready? Go. Look, what can I say? I think this whole series is written by a bunch of people who smoked a lot of weed one night. And certainly this one does feel like that stoner conversation. Hey, man, imagine if they're all kind of, it's a simulation with a simulation with a simulation. It feels that kind of chat. And I think it's a giant middle finger, deservedly so, to that final episode of Enterprise, highlighting how ridiculous that concept is. But yeah, what can you say? Cameo after cameo, and the jaw-dropping moment wasn't Lower Decks, it was Prodigy. It was the fact that, yes, they are still part of the Star Trek family, and I just love that they are, the great thing about Paramount, I think, in the way they're handling Star Trek in the moment, they're not afraid to have fun with it, and they're not afraid to poke fun at themselves, and I think it's a really healthy place for them to be in, and especially this episode, there's just that simple idea. It's not even really a stoner question. I'm sure we've all Trekkie fans at some point going, what if all of TNG is actually a hologram program? And yeah, what can you say? Cameo after cameo, delightfully funny, well-timed. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many more of these we've got, Jace, but in a sense, I think it's 2 for 2. 2 out of 4. They've got a 50% strike rate at the moment. So that's where I'm at. That's a Rurific, of course. It's Rurific.
Of course. Apparently, we have one left. And
we have one left.
We have one left, and it's October 4th.
Yeah.
No, it's Walk, Don't Run.
Walk, Don't Run. Yeah. And, I'm sure they'll go out with a bang with that one. I'm sure.
I really hope so, but I don't see how they could top this one. If I did have I even hate to say this is a con. If I had a small quibble of a complaint on this one, it would be that Garrick shows up, but they didn't get Andy Robinson.
Yeah. Which you thought it would...
I was waiting. For Garrick to say something, and all he did was, no, please give us a Garrick.
You know he would have been gettable. You know he would have. He
would have done it. He would have done it over Cameo. He's amazing. But again, budget. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they couldn't afford him. I don't know.
Well, before we kick into last week's episode of Lower Decks, let's have a look at some of the comments people have dropped by.
If we must.
Jamal, you step by to say hello. G'day, mate. How are you? Melbourne friend.
Hello.
Grand final week over there, mate. Must be absolute hectic in the city. Aaron Sugar says greetings and salvations. Well, greetings and salvations.
Greetings and salvations to you as well.
Yep. Good morning, boys. Yes, it is morning here.
Oh, it's so messed up.
Well, we're in the future, mate. This is what happens in the future. Things go the way they should. Aaron likes cuddle floof.
Cuddle floof. Angry. Murder floof.
All right.
Say hello. I see in your soul. I see your destruction.
I assume Aaron is talking about very short tracks. He didn't realise there might have been one up.
Talking about Murder Bean. You must watch it.
Oh, here we go. No, I haven't been able to find the right combination of illicit substance to make everyone. I think those THC gummy bear things, take about half a bag of them, and I think you might get into the frame of mind of the stoners that actually wrote that episode. So,
I am proudly drug free. I've enjoyed 2 of these immensely. One of them somewhat, and one of them just blah.
Yeah. I concur too. Drug free as well, because it's illegal here. So...
Everybody at home's watching this, going, "Yeah, right." No, seriously, I don't even drink. I know.
Like our addiction is this. This is our addiction. Watching television and talking about it.
It's destructive. It will lead to my end, but
yeah, absolutely. It's affected my work, everything. So, let's move on to Lower. This is a tough one to talk about because I feel like it's almost a week ago when we watched that. And that's Star Trek Lower Decks.
Lower Decks.
So, I suppose I'll have a crack at this one, and let's talk about Lower Decks from
Very
last
well.
week. Now,
Continue.
I probably had a bit of an opposite reaction to a lot of people. I know this was critically kind of panned in a way, some of the element of the episode, the B story especially with Rutherford and Boimler. That's what worked for me. I kind of like the Looney Tunes goofiness of it. It kind of really worked for me. But the A plot, I wasn't that interested in, even though I love Tandy. I love those characters. I wasn't. I will say I did love when the throwing of the knives and you know she gets stabbed a couple of times. There's a little shot when she gets stabbed where you could just see her eyes over the bench, like really annoyed that she got stabbed, which I kind of really loved. Yeah, I'm not going to say this is a strong episode of Lower Decks for me, 'cause I don't think it was. I thought it was a middling episode. I think and I suppose in a way that's why I think the B plot is stronger than the A plot, because I didn't think much of the episode overall. So the only enjoyment I was getting out of it was this goofiness. The fact that they were enemies and then they were friends straight away, to me, that's okay, because it is a throwaway kind of concept, and I would prefer that for them to get over it than the whole it drags out for 22 minutes. I did love, I can't remember the name of the alien species, who's very upset. Who gets very satisfied at the end after he's eaten the bonsai tree. My biggest problem, though, with the series moving forward is Captain Freeman is becoming an issue for me. I want to see Captain Freeman be a competent captain a bit more, and I'm not seeing that, and it's starting to grind on me a little bit. The only way she seems to garner success through the series is by happenstance or by the support of her crew. Overall, I'm giving this Lower Decks episode koala of empathy, to be honest with you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I sit
fine.
with it, to be honest with you.
Well, fine. Okay.
Well.
So, all right. Well, let's.
Well, what do you better have a crack, and then we can decide who's right and who's wrong on this one. Here we
Okay.
go. I'm going to
So,
press start now.
you idiot. I had the exact opposite reaction. I loved everything on Orion, and I hated everything on the Cerritos. The Orion subplot, even though it was not surprising, I loved Mariner getting stabbed over and over again. T'Lyn is hilarious. T'Lyn is my favorite new thing about this season. Everything that comes out of her mouth is comedic gold. Who would have thought Vulcans would have been this funny? Oh, look at that slab of Orion Vitae. Yes, he is quite aesthetically pleasing. That's hilarious. Vulcans are the funniest race on. Vulcans are the funniest race in the galaxy, and they would be so horrified to hear that. The Chalnoth I thought was kind of a cool callback, but everything on the Cerritos just fell flat for me. It just was not funny. It was just stupid. Everything was stupid. I hate to say that because I love this series so much. But the whole Mark Twain thing, the fact that Freeman was like, sure, I'll dress up like Mark Twain with this dangerous alien and hang out on the holodeck together, was just dumb. Every time they were on the Cerritos, I wanted to go back to Orion because that's where all the fun stuff was. I love the fact that they took all the continuity that Enterprise introduced into the Orion species and ran with it and said, yes, the women are in charge, they're pheromones, they are Orion slave women, but it's not the Orion women who are the slaves, it's the men. It's the first time we've seen Orion, too. And if you don't like green, don't go there because everything's green. The people, the countryside, the sky, everything. I'm sure they probably have green milk as well. Even though I did not like the stuff on the Cerritos, to me, it was minor enough to still enjoy this episode. It was not the best of the season, but certainly nowhere near the worst I've ever seen. I'm going to give it a Rurific.
Whoa, there you go.
And you know what this means, right? Because I've been waiting for this. You ready?
Hang on. Okay.
Okay. But who's wrong?
I think it's you're man enough to admit you're wrong, Jace, is great. I think it's great. I think it shows a level of maturity for you. So well done.
I think the fact that you're not man enough to admit that you're wrong. I don't know.
Well,
tell us in the comments who's wrong, me or Rongo. Wrongo McWrongy
Yeah, yeah.
of the Outback.
Look, just send a message, put a comment below to Jason Ron Gaston, and we'll go from there.
Hey, you know what? If you're the 100th person to leave a comment, Aussie Jason will send you a boomerang ring as a prize.
Okay, all right. Let's move it on to a show that maybe well, I got a confession. Fionna and Cake. I didn't get time to watch it.
I can't say a thing because I made a mistake a couple of weeks ago and I forgot to watch Ahsoka because I didn't realize it came on Wednesdays and I forgot what day it was. So I forgive you, not for being wrong, but I forgive you for this. So if you want to,
appreciate that.
If you want to just
I'm
kind
going to
of
start the clock.
For a little bit. Okay, yeah, start the clock.
Yeah,
and
no,
then
no,
nope
I'm going
out,
to start the clock.
Won't,
Yep. And you just give me the I'll take my headphones out. You give me which if it's up, down, whatever, I'll put it on, and then I'll know it's time to put my headphones.
You can't see it, but I'm giving you a hand signal.
Yeah, I know you are. Here we go. I'm going to press start now.
So we had 2 episodes of Adventure Time this week. We had Jerry, and then we had the Star, and I got those backwards. The Star, we see a vampire world. There are kids watching. We had I should get time back for this. We saw a vampire world. It was actually fairly terrifying to see this alternate reality of Adventure Time. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the hopelessness of it, and it kind of reminded me of that Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode, The Wish, which is one of my favorite episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But I really enjoyed it, and I love the fact that Marshall Lee and Gary are officially a couple. We kind of saw them going that way, but I don't know. The fact that that story was being mirrored with Princess Bubblegum and Marceline fighting to the death in the other world, I thought was a very nice touch. The second episode, Jerry, whoa, what a cliffhanger. What a cliffhanger. First of all, BMO is always hilarious. And I feel really horrible. Spoiler alert, by the way. I feel really horrible that I got my biggest laugh of the episode out of BMO's death because it was just hysterical. Just, boom. I thought that was great. And the fact that who Jerry was and the fact that Jerry didn't even care what was going on was super, super, super dark. I was not expecting the show to go this dark. I know Adventure Time has gone dark and Fionna and Cake has gone dark, but this is the darkest it's gone. I'm all there for it. And the cliffhanger was spectacular. We got 2 more episodes of this series to go. I can't wait to see what happens, and I'm going to be very sad because it'll be the last Fionna and Cake we may see, or at least it'll be the last Fionna and Cake that we see for a while. So I am obviously giving this 2 thumbs up. It was Rurific.
All right.
Why did you put the kangaroo up? I was just talking about how much I hated it. I'm just kidding.
We'll finish that in post.
Yes. Watch it as soon as you can. It was a spectacular duo of episodes, and I enjoyed them.
Look, I'm not surprised, Jason. Every episode that I had seen so far of that show has been absolutely wonderful. I think it is one of the best written shows, animated shows on television at the moment. So after this, we'll be watching them today. So.
Now, see, you said it yourself. Whenever I said we got to watch Fionna and Cake, you're like, really? Do we have to? Which will teach you not to question me. And on that note,
I regret allowing you to add that to the stream. Let's move it on.
There's lots to regret.
Yes, always.
And
here we go.
Never take back.
I don't regret so far what I'd seen of this series so far, but it is my turn to talk about this week's episode of Ahsoka, which is called Dreams and Madness. So here we go. What did I think? Look, I'll be honest with you. It didn't hit the highs of previous episodes, but still a wonderful episode. Maybe it's biased at this point because I'm so locked into this series, but I liked where it's going. I loved seeing Ezra again. Ezra who's found peace within himself, which I thought was an interesting turn because it would have made it so easy to make him all, traumatized, and him, you don't know if he's good or bad. They just went for it. Love the fact his fighting style. He rejects the lightsaber now and uses the Force to fight. Love that scene. Loved seeing Grand Admiral Thrawn being a strategist, which I thought was wonderful. They harken back to some classic things we've seen times again with a new twist with hiding in the asteroid belt. Except it's not an asteroid belt, it's a graveyard. So it's something they've done. They've done before, but they put a twist on it. Nice to see a little cameo of Hayden Christensen returning in that little sequence in the beginning. I really did like the review panel scene. I thought that was wonderful, where they go in and we have, of course, another huge cameo by C-3PO, who is actually doing the thing that he's built to do. Be a communicator. He's that type of droid, 6 million languages. And he comes in with the ultimate mic drop in a way. Like, leave her alone. Leia's handling this. It's that episode where it's building towards something else. But just like every Disney show, I always get this sinking feeling, the episode before the end, that they don't have enough time to resolve what they need to in this. And we all know where this is leading. There's no shocker here where this kind of ends up. But again, this has been one of the strongest Star Wars shows to come out for a while. This and Andor, a good episode. So it still deserves a Rurific. All right, that's where I sat on it, mate. Let's see where you sit on Ahsoka. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
So I absolutely loved this episode. I was a huge fan of Rebels. This show is Rebels Season 5, and I'm fine with that. First of all, Ray Stevenson, one of the best things to happen to Star Wars in a very long time. The fact that he is no longer with us is a tragedy. I wish he would have seen the love that he's getting for this role. Baylan is an incredible character, played incredibly by a regrettably late actor. So Ray, thank you so much. I even found Ivana Sakino, I believe is her name, as Shin was so much fun. I love the way Baylan is a master who kind of puts his hands off and says, yeah, you know what? Your destiny's over there. I'm going to go over here. I'm not going to control what you do. So he's not Jedi, because Jedis would have been like, you can't do that. He's not Sith. It would have been, you can't do that. He's doing his own thing, and I really enjoy this. Boy, so much to talk about in less than 55 seconds. Ezra, still annoying, but you know what? They're keeping him on character, so I'm all good with it. I love the turtle people. I love the fact that they incorporated the turtle aesthetic into their vehicles. I loved the fight with Shin and the stormtroopers. Lars Mikkelsen is so amazing to see as Grand Admiral Thrawn, and of course, Ahsoka and Sabine's reunion, Hayden Christensen's cameo. Did you know Captain Enoch is played by Wes Chatham from The Expanse? I had no idea until just now, and now that's all I can think about because he's awesome. Surprises everywhere. I'm kind of the same boat. I've got this really sick feeling in my gut that they're not going to be able to tie up everything, because I know that supposedly there's going to be a movie that's going to spin off of these series. I don't care. It was great. Thumbs up. Can't wait for next week.
Yeah, you brought up a great point, because with Baylan, I'm thinking, what is his true? I don't know if I clearly understand what his true agenda is, and I love that about the character. I love it.
I have a good idea what it is, and if you've watched Rebels, I think you may know what it is as well, because he's after something, and I think we kind of know what it is, but I want to know why. I think he's going to correct problems in time.
Yeah.
I think he's going to go back and try to either change the Jedi Order or change the Sith in some way. And it's going to be the same situation where Ezra was trying to save Kanan. You can't do that. If you do that, you're going to basically destroy everything. So I think the stakes are very high, and I think that they're kind of keeping it close to the chest right now, which I actually think is a good thing. Could be completely wrong, but I think he's after the world between worlds.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I think you're probably onto something there. I mean, obviously, leading up to an event film, because that's what they're doing, I think it's a very smart thing to do.
Heir
If you're
to
going to
the
make.
Empire. Heir to the
Do we
Empire.
get a Thrawn trilogy, though? I mean, are they setting things up that really that's what we're going to be building towards? And I hasten to say it, and I don't think Disney and Lucasfilm would agree to a trilogy, but I reckon they're keeping that in the back of their head. They're going to do an event film, and hopefully it kind of spins off. So
I really hope so, because I love this cast. I love this
yeah,
cast of characters.
I
love
just
every
wish I
single one of
didn't
them.
know that. I wish that was an announcement at the end of the series, and they had just kept that tight because. You know what I mean? It does a little bit knowing that diminish the stakes of certain characters.
Yeah.
Coming up. But yeah, I mean, just the idea of having, and I hate using this term, but I suppose it's an Avengers type, like, collaboration in the Star Wars universe. Absolutely brilliant. So
I can't wait to see Baby Yoda catch the hammer.
yeah, absolutely. Maybe he'll actually scream Avengers Assemble rather than just whisper it.
Avengers, assemble you will.
Now, this is a show we've been meaning to talk about for the last couple of weeks coming up, but we haven't because I needed to catch up with, and that is a show called Disenchantment.
Yes.
So, and it's dropped season 5, Jason.
The final season, yes. It is over.
Is
a
it over?
A Matt Groening animated series actually ended.
Agreed. That's a first, right?
Possible.
No, that's great. I want you to start this one off. Tell us about what you thought, because I know you're a huge fan here. I'm a bit late to the party, but I know you're a big fan of this series. Let me know what you thought of season 5.
So season 5 of Disenchantment. I am a fan of this series. This series is kind of the Matt Groening fanboys whipping boy, so to speak. Everybody always talks crap about it. I think it's a good series. I don't think it's quite as good as the best of The Simpsons or the best of Futurama, but for what it is very good. I enjoy the characters. I enjoy the fact that it's a serialized drama and that it's telling this gigantic story. Now, if you ask me, I think that they were cut one season short and they were told you have to wrap all this stuff up now in this last season. And so I think that kind of takes away from a lot of the momentum that this series had. For example, there was a big mystery about who killed Elfo in the first season, and it's wrapped up as kind of a joke at one point. And I was thinking, surely there was more to that than what they gave us. But overall, I think that the series ended very nicely. The last episode, as a matter of fact, just had what I thought was a very touching ending montage of just showing where the characters are and what happened to them. And not all of them got goodbyes, which I thought was very appropriate. It was all about going off and finding your own direction. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the way the series wrapped up, even if it was a bit rushed, I suppose. But yeah, Disenchantment, I think that time is going to be very, very kind to it as we go on and people stop being such knee-jerk reactionaries and having to hate on anything new that comes out, especially if it's got a female lead, which seems to happen a lot. But I enjoyed it. Disenchantment was fun. It was great. I think that if anything worked against it, it was the enormous time between seasons, because I spent a lot of time trying to remember what the heck was going on. But I'm giving this series thumbs up, rurific, farewell and amen, Disenchantment.
Okay, my turn to have a crack at it. I say one of the strongest things about the show is actually the scripts. I think it feels very much this season was, at least they're planning it out. It doesn't feel like a reactionary. Now, I'm probably not as invested as much as you, but they deal with some really big concepts in this season, which I love, was the whole idea of killing God with a brick and smashing the light bulb. I love that so much, and I love that the demon was basically going, well, I'll be God then. We've all agreed I'm God now. And so I thought that was wonderful. The female lead, sorry, again, I have so many shows I've been watching recently. What's her main name again?
Bean.
Bean, of course, Bean, because there's Bad Bean and then there's,
Yes.
Bean. Bean is wonderful.
She is great, yes.
If you've got an issue with hating on a character like that, I don't know what your problem is, because she is well written. She goes through some
Sorry.
trauma like you would read about in this season, seeing the love of her life get killed and things like that. I think seeing Elfo find happiness in the end was beautiful. Even the fact that the pig becomes prime minister works for me. No, I really liked her. In fact, I need to invest more time in going back and rather than skimming over some of these older seasons, which I did, to invest more time in it, because if this is it, if this is the wrap up, they at least wrap it up well. It's well done. I think this is show, unfortunately, like you kind of mentioned, may have suffered through delays, but maybe a lack of marketing as well, because I think there's some really good stuff in it, and I thought the 5th season was enjoyable, certainly stronger than some of the episodes we got from Futurama, so I'm going to give it a thumbs up as well. There we go. Yeah, look, I thought it was, I didn't know this show gets a bit of hate, Jace. I was surprised you said that.
It's gotten unfair amounts of hate, and again, I'm not really
saying because you've got
it just seems that every time we have a show with a female lead, certain people come out of the woodwork like cockroaches to say things about it.
I mean, considering it's a diverse story as well for the main lead, which B is like just ridiculous to even think about, because could swap it. It's not a merman. I prefer it wasn't a merman. So, because I don't think Bean would like the merman I'm thinking of anyway. I don't think that would be the best
unless it was John Cena from Barbie. Then I'd say probably that.
Yeah, that's the only.
She could go drinking with John Cena.
Now, why should she? Because she had her love of her life, and they were fully in love, and it was wonderful. The mother has to be one of the most evil characters out there, right? Yes. So deliciously written, that evil queen.
I especially liked the fact that Bean had to basically consider the idea that if she killed her mother and it destroyed her mother entirely from the timeline, it could undo her as well. And I thought, wow, that's deep. I kind of wish they'd done more than that.
Bigger stakes, are you?
No, you're not.
Great show. Really, really wonderful. Now, as much as you're saying this show got hate, it's now time for us to judge. All right? Because there's been a couple of let's be judgy, because there's a couple of new shows come out this week where we're going to watch the first couple episodes and we're going to decide, Jason, whether they will continue to watch it or they're going to get an axe in the segment that we call Suck It. All right, sudden
recontextualizing the bumpers. I like it.
Yes, we're just kind of moving things around a little bit, just adjusting it. But I think this is appropriate, Chase, because we did have 2 new shows start this week, and let's get into the first one, which will be the Continental.
Oh yes, I didn't even know this was a thing until you said, "Oh, the Continental from the world of John Wick," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, well, I'm still trying to pick up my jaw from the fact you said you've only seen one of them.
Yeah, I've only seen the first John Wick. I'm sorry. I've also only seen 2 of the Fast and the Furious movies.
That's okay.
I've got nothing against the franchises. It's just for some reason they just have barely entered my sphere. I'm sorry.
John Wick, actually, as it goes along, the lore gets built much more. They're actually an excellent series. There's not really a weak link in the sequels so far. They actually tend to be excellent, each one of them. So I would highly recommend watching 2, 3, and 4.
As much as I just simply adore Keanu Reeves, I need to watch them, and I will watch them.
You do. And hopefully this show, I don't know if this show has pointed you in that direction, and you're going to tell us right now what you thought of the first part of a 3-part series, I should say. Yes. This is a 3-part mini-series, and we've watched the first part. Go, Jace.
Okay, so again, I had absolutely no idea that this was even a thing until Jace told me about it, and I thought, wow, okay then, let's talk about the Continental. So I'm going to just kind of break this down as succinctly as I can. The Continental is lots of style with minimal substance. I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I'm saying that it is a substance that I enjoyed. I really enjoyed the cast. I enjoyed the action. Story was not that strong because I've seen this before, but overall, I enjoyed it. I'm thinking about the story, and all I can think about is brothers, bad, Mel Gibson. That's all I can think of. As a matter of fact, if there was a weak point to this entire movie that is, in my opinion, weaker than the single thread of a story that was holding it together, it would be Mr. Mel Gibson. Because yikes, just yikes, what in the heck was he doing? I could just imagine he showed up on set and was like, I'm going to do a New York accent. Don't do a New York accent. I'm going to do it. Don't do it. Too late. I'm doing a New York accent. It was bad. It was very bad, and it was very distracting. But I will say there's not a whole lot to this series. It is action, and it's done very well. It is slow-mo gunplay done very well. And, I liked the characters. I liked the characters. I liked what's going on. And I liked the fact that it ended in a very dark way that not only was kind of shocking, but also kicked us right square in the butt, ready to go into the next two chapters of this. So I'm going to give it thumbs up, even though I'm not familiar with the universe of John Wick. Rurific.
Brilliant. All right. I'm someone who's seen all the movies, and I'll give you an opinion what I thought of this first part. Look, I liked it. I think I do agree in the sense that it had a very simple plot, but it felt like they were trying to mix Greek tragedy with like film noir and smash it together in an action format. Mel Gibson is a very one-note villain, but he makes a deliciously evil villain because of the idea that he's willing to sacrifice his sons, and that's what it's all about. It's sons and the sins of the father, and going from there. And look, it's like I said, it's a very point A to B to C to D plot line with a MacGuffin along the way, because that's what he's got. The press that makes the golden coins, which are a big thing, these tokens in the John Wick universe. So if you may not know the context of how important they are because you haven't seen the films, but a good show, you shouldn't need to know anything else. It should stand on its own. So, look, I don't recognise the two lead actors, the brothers, in anything else, but I think they were quite okay. It's you're seeing the origins of certain things, like Mel Gibson developing the armor suits that are bulletproof, that are a big thing in the John Wick universe, and things like that. Look, it's okay, but like the John Wick films, if you're looking for an intellectual thought piece, wrong series. You're looking for well executed action, a plot line you don't have to think about too much. It's going to get you there, and it achieves that. I think it's an interesting idea that and great that they're able to make this series, because this would not stand alone or work as a film. It would not make its money. It would probably lose money, to be honest with you. But as a mini-series, it works well. It's entertaining. I'm looking forward to the second part. I'm definitely giving it a Dazza-rurific, because I did enjoy it for what it is. There you go.
Yes, I think you've put it great. This is action. It's not high drama. It's not anything deep. It is just simply
the
action.
level of the depth is around having the father willing to kill his sons. That's where we're supposed to draw all the emotionality out of that. And maybe the relationship between the brother and his wife. So shout out to the twins. Every time there's creepy twins in a film, it's not the first time, but I do appreciate creepy twins. And then
they reminded me of the little girls from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I don't know, just super duper.
Yeah,
creepy.
A little bit. It had a bit touch of the twins from The Matrix, the ghost twins a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. There were twins in a Bond film once too. Who were they?
Oh, I'm sure there's been
from the
plenty
70s.
of twins
There were. They were
sure.
great.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, so your name's Pippin Bob, eh?
So I think it's fair to say. I think it's fair to say the Continental has survived the sword, haven't they?
Yes.
They've survived the axe.
It has survived the culling.
It's survived the culling. All right, so we had another show that was starting, that started 2 weeks ago or a week ago, that we're just starting. We've had a look at the first 2 episodes, and that is another animated show by creator Dan Harmon called Krapopolis, which gets a tick straight away just because of its name, Krapopolis. So I'm going to give you my opinion of Krapopolis right now and let you know what I thought of the 2 episodes. I thought it was great. I really think there's a lot to work with in this universe. I don't know if I'd seen a series set at that time and place in history. I love that the voice acting is exceptional. You've got Matt Berry, you've got Hannah Wingington from Ted Lasso. You've got, of course, what's the name from IT Crowd playing the main lead?
Daniel, oh my gosh.
Yes, I've forgotten now.
Oh, wow.
Either way, the voice cast is stellar. Even Duncan Trussell playing that fish kind of guy that invents everything. Really, really great.
Richard Ayoade.
Richard Ayoade, who's absolutely comic genius. I really like the idea of this guy trying to create civilization, being on the forefront of trying to create a sane civilization. And it works really well. In the first episode, they deal with that anyway. When he's going to get, he has to battle a neighbouring warlord called Arsekill. I believe.
Voiced by Keith David.
Voiced by the great Keith David, which is just so good. And it's how he negotiates and they become symbiotic. They start to build a community, and it's well written because it's written by Dan Harmon, which is great. The second episode was also wonderful too because I like the mother a lot in this. She is the most narcissistic god ever created, and it's all about her, and it's great. And Matt Berry, I'm not going to go what he's in absolutes, but one of them, he's either killing or he's doing something else. And I love that about the character. But Duncan Trussell playing the fish guy, the guy with the bowl, who seems to invent concepts and ideas.
Hippocampus.
Yes, wonderful. Wonderfully written. And I'm really keen to see the rest of the series, Jay. This is actually, I'd give this a couple of dazzers if I could, but I'll give it one dazzer, and it's a good thumbs up. All right. Let's reset. Let's have a look, mate. Let us know what you thought of Krapopolis.
Okay, well, I did not know that this was Dan Harmon whenever I said, oh, there's a new animated series, we should probably look at it or whatever. His name popped up. I was like, ooh, okay, Rick and Morty, Solar Opposites, this could be nice. This show was fantastic. This show was great. It was funny. It's something new that I haven't seen in a long time. The characters are wonderful. And to me, I don't know, it kind of breaks the mold as far as these animated series go, because they don't have that standardized stereotypical group of people. Yeah, it's a family unit, but it's a really different and fun family unit. Anything with Matt Berry has got bonus points for me. Anything with Richard Ayoade, bonus points for me. The entire cast is fantastic. And also, it's great to see a Dan Harmon vehicle without someone who sounds like this. I'm you know what I mean. You know.
I know what you
Both episodes were great. As I said before, Keith David plays a character named Asskill, and he is one of the most underrated comedic talents of our generation. I think this man can do anything. Both episodes were fantastic. And they both just kind of ran together for me. I watched one after the other because as soon as I was done with one, I had to watch the second one. I'm going to watch the third one here on out. I say we do these every week because this is a show that I have not seen a whole lot of advertisements for, a whole lot of promotions for. Folks, if you like Rick and Morty, if you like Solar Opposites, if you just like good comedy, you should be watching Krapopolis. I'm giving it a very, very hearty thumbs up. It's been a good week this week.
It has as well. They have, according to the great and reliable Wikipedia, we will take this for what it is, that this series, in fact, was greenlit for a second series back in November of last year, right? Before the first year. They then, in March, renewed it for a third season before they aired the first episode 2 weeks ago.
Well, you know what? It is.
So the studio's got faith in it. They have got faith in it. So if it's got 3 seasons, they know they've got something there. However,
they even made a joke during the show that, this is why we got 4 seasons. And I was like, this is why you got 4 what? Yeah. I guess there's some truth to that.
There is some truth. They've definitely got 3 seasons. However, I read a couple of reviews by accident on Facebook this morning. They popped up, people slamming it, and I'm going, I have no idea what you saw.
It's
I have
new.
no idea. Yeah,
It's new. They did the same thing. They did the same thing to Solar Opposites. It's new.
Yeah.
It's from a creator who has something that they enjoy, and for some reason, if a creator makes something that people enjoy, and then they make something new, you automatically have to hate it. I don't know why. I don't know why. This show's fantastic. The actors are fantastic. The characters are fantastic. The jokes are fantastic. Don't listen to the haters, because haters, you know what?
I gave him control.
You shouldn't have done that at all.
All right, that was sudden death, and that was a good sudden death, Jace. And now we're going to go to the final segment of our show, and that's when we look into some hidden
This is when Matt Berry's Manticore comes in and goes, I hear that you're looking for something fun to do this weekend.
Yes.
I have a suggestion.
He's wonderful. You know, he's brought out about 3 or 4 albums, which I have on my Spotify. And he actually makes good music as well. This guy's
voice, he can do anything with that voice.
He's incredible.
He could just walk into America and say, I'm taking over. And I'd be like, okay, here's the keys to the White House.
Yep.
Good luck, Matt.
It's all you are. All right,
Emperor
now this
Barry.
segment here is where me and Jace get a chance to promote to each other and to you guys a show or a film that we think is worth kind of highlighting and may have got lost in time. So I'm going to start it off this week talking about another Aussie film, because Aussie represent here, and this is a movie called Road Games. So, yes, I don't know if you've ever.
I don't know
heard
what
of
part of that anatomy we were just looking at, but
I
you
can
have
go back.
my attention.
Yeah, let's go back.
Well,
I shouldn't have brought the croc on. He didn't.
The croc popped up. Like, let me see.
There you go. But we don't need the clock anymore, because are we going to time these chases to keep them short, or?
I don't care. Nobody
let's
has
just get
any kind
into
of deep-seated, commitment to this bit. Whatever you want to do.
There we go. Let's go with Road Games. Now, Road Games, Jace, this is set in 1981 and is a psychological road thriller set in the Australian outback. But like all movies back then, when we made movies in Australia, we had to hire American actors. So it actually stars Stacey Keach and Jamie Lee Curtis. And it's really about this trucker who's got a delivery to go from one side of the country to the other. And he comes across this hitchhiker, picks this hitchhiker up, and they're just playing a word game in the truck. And then he starts talking about a serial killer that's been going around killing people and that. And as the film unfolds, we start to find more clues. We start to find out who exactly is the serial killer. This film is really all about style, Jace. And Quentin Tarantino has highlighted one of his favourite Australian movies. And it is about how they shoot this film. It feels tense all the way through. And Stacey Keach puts on an electric performance in this film. He is probably one of his career best roles. So I'd absolutely check this out. It's a bit slower paced, but the payoff at the end, and there is a payoff, I think is absolutely worth watching. And it's one of those films that may not have got big exposure back in 81 internationally and things like that. But I think you will find it stands real tall in that area of psychological thrillers. Like, I would say Blowout, a Brian De Palma film, which I consider one of the great psychological thrillers. It's equal to that. It's really got a real delicious flavour about it. And, I don't know if you've seen it, Jace, but I would get on it. Road Games, you can find it on Amazon Prime. So that's my pitch, mate, for Road Games.
I have not seen it, but I am interested. So I need to
Okay,
expose myself to more Aussie cinema. Well, our hidden gems could not be any more different at all.
And no one's wrong in this scenario.
No
right?
one's
No
wrong.
one's
No one's wrong. And if you disagree, you are wrong.
I thought you were going to play it.
I was not. No, I think that we have. I think we've done that bit. Okay. So, shouldn't have given me access.
Simple
You shouldn't have.
gags. Yeah.
So I'm going to recommend a comedy from 2001, an American comedy. I was going to see it in theaters, but I was sick that day. Nobody else went and saw it either, which is a shame because it is one of the most biting and hilarious comedies about the commercialization of music and the entertainment industry that I have ever seen, and that is Josie and the Pussycats. This
Mm.
movie is fantastic, and I will go to my grave raving about what a smart comedy this was. If you look at any review written whenever this movie came out, all of them mention the same thing. Well, there's too much product placement. There's too much product placement. That was the joke, is that every scene in this movie has got product placement in it. Every single one. Go watch the movie. Every single scene has something in the background. And even in like the most horrible situations, you've got the Target logo in the background. People are getting kidnapped off the street. There's MTV logo in the background. Y'all, they were not paid. They didn't. They weren't paid for these product placements. They put them in the movie because that was what the movie was about. It was about commercialization and pushing products in your face, and how capitalism is basically destroying and sterilizing an entire industry. The cast of this movie, you have first of all, we were talking about Ahsoka earlier. We have the great Rosario Dawson. We have Rachel Lee Cook, and we have Tara Reid back whenever she was still somewhat, lucid and not chasing sharks. In addition to that, we have Alan Cumming in one of his funniest roles ever. Parker Posey plays the villain, the main villain. Her outfits are amazing. Her delivery is spectacular. There's this one scene where she is wearing this outfit that has these little wires that stick out of the neck, and every time she turns, they had a sound effect like, and they do it so subtly that you don't even realize that you've heard it at first. But then whenever you hear it, you can't unhear it, and it's hilarious. And also another great, criminally underrated comedic actress, Missy Pyle, is in this movie. And I cannot say enough wonderful things. Plus the soundtrack. The soundtrack is bombing. It's great. I own the soundtrack. I will listen to the soundtrack, and I am not even ashamed of it. Plus, you got Breckin Meyer, you have Seth Green as cameos, you have all these amazing cameos. You have Mr. Moviephone makes a cameo. Who even knows who Mr. Moviephone is anymore? Josie and the Pussycats. If you say anything bad about it, you're wrong. This movie's a hidden gem. More people should know it. I know it's gotten a cult following here lately. Shouldn't be a cult following. It should be a worldwide, international following. So go watch Josie and the Pussycats, and if you don't, you're wrong, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
You know why it's got a cult following? You know what a cult following usually indicates? It was a failure.
Yeah,
So
it
when
was a
something
failure.
becomes
Yes.
cult, it was a failure when it was released, and then it becomes loved. And this film, I remember very specifically not getting a lot of love when it came out.
No.
It was really slammed. And I remember seeing it on DVD when it got released. And going in arms crossed, I listened. I went, okay, this film's not for me. My wife had grabbed it. I got to say, yeah, I was shocked at how well this film works. And you know why I think it also works so well, mate? It's because this is one of those films where you see the origins of so many talented people. You know, Rosario Dawson, you name them all. Like, this is early in their career, and look at them all blossom. Now, great choice, Jace. That's
I remember being told by a friend of mine. We used to do a movie website together. We'd review movies, and he messaged me one day and said, "You're not going to believe this, but you have to see Josie and the Pussycats." And I was like, "Do I though? Do I have to watch it?" And I was going to go see it.
He was right.
It was already gone out of theaters by the time I got around to seeing it, but I caught it on DVD, and I fell in love with it, and I've been in love with it ever since. It is spectacular comedy. I still laugh at it these days.
It is absolutely brilliant. Well, there it is. We've ended our show. We've gotten through the litany, Jace. We worked our way through that litany And here we are at the end. And guys, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, we'd really love your support. You can do that by liking the video, sharing it, let people know, scream it out to the ether. And you haven't subscribed, press that subscribe button. So that's it.
And if there is a show that you think we should look at, of course, drop a comment, let us know, because we're both fairly ignorant people.
Yeah, we're middle-aged men, so ignorance is kind of built in at this point. It's like part of our DNA.
I mean, he's
so
absolutely than I am, but he's telling the truth. Yes.
So yeah, absolutely. Send through, because we want to check it out. Look, we'll even do what do they call the Mexican soaps?
The telenovelas.
Hey, look, I mean, no, we won't. I can't speak Spanish. Yeah, well, anyway.
Speak poco Spanish.
I think it's time to take the show behind the curtain, end it. So, all right, guys, until next week. If you don't agree, Jason, what are they?
What are they? You know what they are.